What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
I'm Mike.
And we have a special guest coming to us from In-Ring Art. We have Justin. What's going on, man?
Not much. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Good, man. We're glad to have you on. So tell everybody a little about In-Ring Art.
Right when this little pandemic thing started back in, around March of 2019, when the schools got shut down out here and all that stuff and, working from home, I needed something to keep my sanity going. And I just started drawing some wrestlers, and always wanted to learn to draw. I'm kind of jealous of my wife, who's an amazing artist. And after few months of doing it, I'm like, I should start an Instagram account. And I started an Instagram account, and I just started drawing a wrestler every day. And it's kind of little things here and there have happened, and I got a little bit of a niche in this world, and it's, kind of goes up and down every day. So it's pretty crazy. Started selling my drawings, and here I am.
Dude, I love your stuff. I bought the...
That was you. I knew one of you did.
Yeah, I bought the Brian Pillman loose cannon is framed up in my house right now.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
yeah, I love your stuff.
I appreciate that, man. I never thought any of this stuff would. I guess if you do something every day, you get a little bit better. But people want to buy them. People are like, you want to buy it? Okay. And here we are.
Yes, you guys definitely go check out. It's at In-Ring Art on Instagram, right?
That's it, and I'm on Twitter as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I love it because, like you said, every day we get a new post, and it's just, like you said, you have a niche. People know, it's growing. I love it. I always look forward to seeing what you do that day.
That's awesome. I appreciate that, and I think just wrestling in general has got the most passionate fan base, in subculture, and that's why I think they must see that in my stuff, I guess.
Definitely, man.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Well, we are here to do some debating. What we'll do, if you haven't listened to us before, we'll do 3 topics. I know you brought one topic, which will be our second topic of the evening, and then we'll go about 10 to 15 minutes. We don't have Tom here tonight to muddy things up.
He took the night off.
Tom took the night off.
It's his what anniversary, right?
Yeah.
So
Happy
anniversary, Tom.
And
anniversary.
Yep. So we'll get into it. 3 topics. We'll go, and I'll you guys ready to get started?
Well, let's get in.
Let's do it.
All right. So our first topic of the evening, kind of fun. What's the greatest wrestling chant of all time?
Okay, so
there's so many good ones too.
What's the rules on this? Is this just chants from the crowd? Like is this the fight forever type of chants? Are we including like the woos and the whats and okay? So
we're including anything that can be considered a chant that the crowd would chant, wrestler or
on their own.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. It's good.
Yeah, this is tough.
It is tough.
And I think chants, like before we give our picks, like chants are extremely important, man. Like when you think, and this is something that, it's very like, I think topical right now because we've just came out of a time where there were no chants.
They literally have made careers chants.
Right, exactly. Exactly. They have gotten people over, and there are things that are almost ridiculous to think that those chants still exist long after the wrestlers that got those chants started have retired and moved on. So there's a lot on the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think, Steve?
I'll start it off. I think my pick is what.
What?
pick is the what chant, and just the
What?
it's something that can it changes the cadence of how people cut their promos. And I think that to me makes it the greatest, because it messes with how somebody comes in the ring and has to talk.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That chant is
It's just truly interactive.
it's truly interactive, and it's a test of someone's mic skills.
Exactly.
Like, can you make it through a Watt chant? Will it? Because we've seen Watt chants like completely wreck someone on the mic.
After WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, it ruined Roman Reigns one night. Like, he had no idea what to do because of the what chant that was going on.
Yeah.
And that, to me, like, be it a great chant, because I mean, it still transcends after, I think it started in 2001, and it's been this long since Austin was even around, and you hear it every night.
Yeah, it's one of those chants where you're like, the performer has to make up their mind, like, okay, how do I handle this?
Yeah.
Do I acknowledge it, or because sometimes if you acknowledge it, it just gets louder, or do you just plow through it and not acknowledge it?
Yeah.
Right. Do you lean into it, or you just speed up the cadence a little bit so they can't do it?
Exactly.
Right.
I think, to me, that's what makes it the greatest, because it keeps people on their toes. And it's like, I can't think of another chant that is going to do that. Like, there's so many good chants, but for this chant to be only one word.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
This
only
is solid
one word,
points.
and it changes everything about somebody's promo. To me,
Hell yeah.
I think that I can't see another chant having more of an effect on the business. That is my
That's
pick.
a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Love it, man.
You know what? I was thinking I'm gonna go with when the crowd would chant apple. Remember
Oh,
that?
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
Asshole.
yeah.
Because that, when I first heard it, when I was like, are they saying apple? But I don't know. That was a chant that it takes me back to my, the Attitude Era in the high school days, and just hearing that chant with like Mr. McMahon and the Rock, or just, I don't know, that, and it's still used today when someone's just getting that real big heat, like an
Yeah.
MJF. It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just sounds so clean with everyone saying it in
Yeah.
unison. And it's another one that can shut people down.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot of honorable mention ECW chants that aren't politically correct anymore. But I'm gonna go with asshole.
That's a good one, because like that's almost like that's a coronation chant. When you can garner the heat to get that from the crowd, where they're not cheering you as a heel, they're actually chanting asshole at you. You're coronated as a true heel.
Oh yeah,
Couldn't agree more.
100%.
I think there's so many to pick from.
Yeah.
I mean, the woo chant to me is so like legendary. I mean,
That transcends even wrestling, though.
Yeah,
I'm not
for real.
I'm not going to pick it because it's kind of an obvious one, but I do want to tip my cap to it, because that's one of those chants that's like, it's attached itself, obviously Ric Flair, but it's attached itself to a move.
Yeah.
Where anytime someone gets that chop in the corner, you get that chant. And it will always be that way.
And
But-
it's a sign that the fans are engaged and into the match and having a good time. So if you hear that
100%.
chant, there's usually something interesting going on.
Yeah, if someone's getting a chop in the corner and the crowd isn't wooing, something's
There's a
wrong.
problem. Yeah.
Here's the thing with that one. I've heard it done in arenas with 20,000, 25,000 people, and I've heard it in bingo halls with 20 people.
Oh yeah, and
Because-
it's still just as loud. You know?
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about the woo is when you walk into the arena, and the show's you're not even in your seats yet, and guys are woo, and then you feel it, you can't help but go woo, like
Everyone's got a woo.
here.
Everyone's got a woo.
You got
Everyone.
I think I'm going to go with the Kurt Angle "You Suck" chant.
Oh, that's
yes.
a good one too.
There's something about that to me that I love the evolution of that chant, because it starts when he's this like just heel. No one likes him. Edge, I think, put it on him. And So they're chanting as soon as his music hits, the crowd's hitting those notes with the "you suck."
Yeah.
And now the guy, a couple years ago gets inducted into the Hall of Fame and they're chanting "you suck," but it's a term of endearment now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's morphed from him being the heel that now it's like, we love you, Kurt. We're chanting "you suck," but we love you.
He wanted it.
Yeah.
They were doing, he's loving it.
Yeah. So
fully embraced it, man.
the fact that he took this kind of negative connotation and just like it transcended its initial creation and now it's this term of endearment. I think there's something powerful about that.
Yeah.
I was hoping when he came out with the Shield that they would have done it in unison to the Shield song. But I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, now too, there's another "you suck" type chant with Cena.
Yeah.
John Cena sucks.
Right.
And he loves it. Like when he comes out, he wants it. So, But yeah, the OG, awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. No, that's a solid. All three solid picks.
Anytime you can go with the rhythm of the music going on, I mean, that can either that's make or break right there for a talent.
Absolutely, man. I have an honorable mention, and they're both complete opposite spectrum, so it works out. But honorable mention is the "you fucked up" chant, because
I was thinking that too.
Always when it happens, like it changes the whole. Like the workers in the ring got to try harder. They got to do better. They call them out on their bullshit. Everybody loves calling people out on their bullshit.
And you're obviously dealing with a smart crowd.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And then, but my actual pick is because it's the ultimate form of gratitude from the crowd, but it's the "this is awesome" chant.
Yeah.
Because when you're really in it, and like we were all out, you were feeling it, and it was an awesome moment. And when the crowd shouted it out, got it out back, and like, I think that's gonna be great for a wrestler when you're in the middle of a match. You've been fucking beating the shit out of each other for 15-20 minutes. And you get the "this is awesome" chant. It's like instant gratification, ultimate applause. So I think
that to me is like the romantic comedy of that no one wants to admit they like of chants.
Yeah.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Yeah. That was one of the ones that I'm like, sometimes it's like, oh brother, this is, but it's true though. When people are chanting that, they're obviously into what's going on.
Yeah.
Or fight forever or something like that.
Yeah.
But, it's the one that we might not want to admit that we like.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's fantastic.
that chant, I think it is definitely like when you're getting that in a large arena, there's energy in that. But I do want to bring up about chants. Do you guys think that the crowd, it's kind of do you think chants are always completely sincere, or do you think there is an element of a crowd wanting to, for lack of a better phrase, hijack a show, or because I feel like "this is awesome" and "fight forever"? Sometimes those chants do happen when you're like, okay, you're really quick to throw those chants out there, and then as far as like hijack chants. When someone starts when they chant CM Punk during a segment, or even Watt is a hijack chant sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you think crowds are sometimes not, they're not being spontaneous in the moment, and it's more of them wanting to put themselves into a show instead of just feeling the moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, I mean, there's a lot of hijacking chants out there. Like the "yes" chant is almost a hijacking chant now. CM Punk, of course. What? But it's how you do. And people were chanting for Zack Ryder that one year when The Rock was in the ring. And they were like booing him. They're like, "We want Ryder." That's them hijacking for sure. And I mean, they paid their money. I guess it's worth it. You can hijack a show, but
it's still the risk you pay for being in front of a live audience, live audience programming.
But I do feel that the "this is awesomes" and the "fight forevers" do come out a little more rapidly than they should. But
people just excited to be in the building, and I guess there could be some sarcasm, but I don't remember ever detecting a "this is awesome" that was the sarcasm chants You know, like when your team finally gets a stop on defense or something like this.
Right.
I don't see a ton of that really. It's usually just quiet if people don't want to react to something, or it's the X-Pac heat boos or whatever.
Right.
I like when crowds go up against each other too. When you have like when two people's going, they go, say Darby Allin, CM Punk, Darby
right.
Allin, CM Punk.
Yeah, I love the battling.
Those
Like we
are
even had
fun,
that
too.
at All Out. We
Yeah.
had a Tessa Blanchard chant.
We
like
won.
we want Tessa, and then
No, we
half of the
don't.
crowd's
No,
no,
we
we don't.
That's great.
Yeah, that I think that's chanting. I'm with you guys. Just because it's hijacking, I'm all for chanting. You pay your money. Maybe this is your first show. You just want to be involved. You want to feel that energy. I think it really gets under my skin when promotions, when you can tell that they have buried the sound,
Oh, yeah.
when they're manipulating the crowd sound to try and take that out of the equation. That bothers me. I feel like the organic quality of the crowd is what makes pro wrestling.
It's
absolutely
like they're verbally holding up a sign.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever seen a crowd so hostile and so in the modern era where they had to stop a show or anything? It never gets that bad.
No.
This
was fun. I like that topic.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun
good one.
topic.
This is really fun.
All right, well, we'll move on to the next topic if you guys are ready. So the next topic of the evening is, now, Justin, this is your topic that you brought. Will AEW and New Japan have a super show in 2022?
Okay, so I will say this: last year and just in the months before this, I think that's the plan of Tony Khan. I really do. That they want to have a stadium show out here, be it in, I don't know, Wrigley Field or somewhere. That was the whole culmination of this relationship. They're going to have a big super show where it'll be IWGP versus AEW champion and all that. But this Omicron thing coming out right now, I don't know what they're going to do now, because I know Japan especially has tightened up their travel restrictions, and we'll see how that goes. But I do think that is the goal. And I think that's where, Tony Khan and maybe New Japan see their relationship slowly evolving to. I think they want to fill a stadium and have this big super show, and maybe even evolve. I would say Ring of Honor, but since that's not really happening anymore, and maybe even a little bit Impact. But I think you're going to have this big, non-WWE super show at some point in maybe 2022. I think that's a fair assumption to make, whether it's Wrigley Field or some baseball stadium in the Midwest in the spring or something like that. I can see it happening.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. Like, I think that is the end goal of this entire Forbidden Door relationship. I think the one thing that gives me pause for 2022 is just the unknown of COVID. Like, right. I do think it's going to happen, whether that's 2022, 2023. I do think that's where we're heading. Rocky Romero came out recently in an interview and said, there's big plans in store with this partnership, and it's long-term. So that instantly gets me thinking, like, they have only scratched the surface. And I think COVID has been the reason that we haven't seen the Okadas, the Tanahashis, the Evils, the Jay Whites. I feel like they're kind of, even though we saw Jay White in Impact, but you know what I mean? Like the big top tier guys, I think
they've all been torn in the US though.
They have. I just think I think Tony doesn't want to lock in on a storyline with one of these big guys and then COVID fuck it up. Yeah. So I think he's holding off on any big storylines until everything on the Japan side is all systems go. And when the doors completely open wide up and there's not a lot of travel restrictions or fear of travel restrictions, I think that's when you're going to see these super cards really start coming into fruition. That's when you're going to see Okada Omega again, or Ospreay and Darby Allin, whatever incarnations they give us. It's definitely on the horizon for
sure. If anyone, I don't know if am I alone in saying this, but I think Tony Khan does seem to exhibit some patience in his storytelling most of the time, right?
Absolutely.
100%.
And I was still waiting for that moment and bear with me, Kenny, I would, let's say Kenny beat Hangman Page and he's sitting in the ring saying, I've beaten everyone. And then you hear that chains drop.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. That moment,
The Rainmaker. Oh,
I don't care where that crowd is. They're going to go nuts, even though some of them might not even know.
yeah.
But, that would be a moment.
And-
No,
I really feel like it's in their back pocket. And of course, this can all wait till Kenny gets healthy, because it sounds like he's going to need some time.
Oh yeah. Shoulder
And
surgery's no joke, man.
and the vertigo he's dealing with, I can only
Yeah.
imagine. So he might need a good 6, 8, 10 months to really get back to being in ring shape. So that actually might time out well for when this is happening. But yeah, like you said, with all this, you asked me 2 weeks ago, I'm like, oh yeah, 2022, hell yeah. But then
Right.
this thing comes out in Japan right away. They're very conservative when it comes to this stuff. They're shutting it down for anyone other than long-term residents. So that's like a Will Ospreay, or maybe they'll still be able to get in the country. I don't even know, to be honest with you, what
Right.
Wrestle Kingdom's going to look like, let alone a super show between the two shows. But I think we're going to see one eventually. But yeah, it's just going to have to wait till the cloud's completely clear on this thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, that's my point, was it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to see it. But I think Tony will hold off until COVID, until it's 100%,
Yeah.
until he can open the door fully.
He doesn't want to
Yeah.
stop. I think he's
Yeah.
afraid.
And New
to
Japan
start.
was going to hold off too, believe
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And if you look at it, man, dude, when they do this show, New Japan and ROH sold out Madison Square Garden. And that was when they did that show. What was that? Like 3 or 4 years ago when that happened?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was a big deal, dude, for two promotions,
Huge.
not WWE, to go into the Garden and sell it out. And now imagine AEW, which we can all agree that AEW right now is hotter than ROH was at the time, as
Yeah.
far as
Yeah.
just, it has
Oh,
more
yeah.
exposure. So if you put AEW and the top tier talent from New Japan on a super card, I think they could sell out a stadium. Like,
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing to think about. That show sold off of the fact that they didn't know that Kenny and the Young Bucks were all
Leaving.
those people were leaving. So
Yeah.
that was sold off of those guys, not off of ROH. And then also, AEW's been consistently selling out buildings, including the Arthur Ashe Stadium, which is a nice 22,000 seat in New York City. So
Yeah.
I think they're further establishing that they can fill venues up pretty well.
yeah.
And wrestling fans that are usually traveling to go see WWE and WrestleMania and SummerSlam or whatever are going to flock to this event as well, as long as it's a decent time of year and it's not up against anything that can compete with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty fair assumption, as long as they pick the right place, it's going to sell out.
Yeah, and I think
100%.
you have a good point of like putting it in the middle of the country, so it's
Yeah.
an easy flight for West Coast, East Coast. Yeah,
Or just making it a destination area. Like if you're going to go on the West Coast, you come to LA, people are going to want to come to LA, maybe talk their girlfriends into coming for the weekend because they can go see all the sites LA has, or whatever. But yeah, I think Chicago would be the safest bet, as long as the weather cooperates. If you're going to do, like, I don't even know if Wrigley Field can host something like that, but
Yeah.
they would have to find some maybe like 35, 40,000 seat. I'm not going to try and fill, the big house at Michigan or anything like that.
right.
But it would have to be like a moderate, like a baseball size stadium, I'd say.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I really think that there's a holdback from it, because I don't think Tony, like you guys said, I don't think Tony Khan wants to start something that he can't finish, or, that's going to get screwed up by something. And I think that's a reason, like, we've seen Jay White on Impact and not on AEW, for like a big deal, because I don't think that he wants to pull a trigger and tease anything and then get screwed over. Like, you hear everybody going, "Oh, I want to fight Ospreay, I want to fight Okada," and like they're building on it and they're really teasing
seeds,
it here. Yeah, there are a lot of different seeds are being
a
planted,
lot of measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
A lot.
Tony would have been a great carpenter, right? But I think a stadium show would be the only answer for it, because if you were to do that at the all out. There'd be a lot of disappointed people because it's such a small venue, you know, or even if it was a United Center or an Arthur Ashe, like those sold out without this, you know. So why would you do something without, you know, having a huge thing? Like even like a Soldiers Field would be cool, not necessarily sell out the whole thing, but make a huge crowd in there.
Yeah,
you know, a football stadium would look badass because you got more room on the square, you know, field. Tony's a football guy, you know, it would just make super sense. And yeah, I think they're gonna try to pull Wrigley for All Out. So I think that would be a cool thing. Yeah, because Punk keeps talking about it, and like you know, he's like, yeah, he keeps hinting at it. So it would be badass.
I'm
man.
mad at that. Yeah,
right.
And
I'm here for it though.
Justin, you brought up like AEW's killing it on the live ticket sales. Like,
yeah,
just to kind of like compare what's been going on with the live attendance right now. You know, obviously WWE is pulling those TV ratings, but
are they?
They're
the ratings.
Yeah, the ratings.
I can tell you this right now. I know that SmackDown is supposed to be about a week from Friday. They're supposed to be at Staples Center, and there's still plenty of tickets available, and they're cheap, and you can get them 2 for 1. But I think part of it is getting people to come to a show in LA at 4:45 p.m. is very difficult.
Yeah.
And there's a good litmus test that just happened with WWE. They were just in Long Island at that new arena,
the UBS arena,
the UBS arena, and AEW's there in I believe like a week or two.
Yeah,
it's MJF's homecoming. Okay, so SmackDown sold a little over 4,000 tickets in an arena that I believe holds 18,000.
Yeah.
And AEW has already sold almost 9,000.
Yeah.
So they've doubled their live attendance over WWE. There's if you read the dirt sheets and all the people online, there's definitely
they think that Tony Khan's buying up tickets.
Well, AEW still has that shiny new toy quality, and most people that are going to see AEW right now have never seen AEW before.
Right.
There's a million people that have seen a ton of WWE shows, and right now, I of course that's a reflection of the product being better, but also I think there is still AEW's new, and people want new stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, and they want to experience it for the first time. Like if you're sitting there, you're a lifelong WWE fan, but you really love what AEW is doing too, you're probably going to go see AEW again, or for the first time before you go back to a WWE show, especially if you're not, particularly enjoying the product.
Yeah, and take away the product in the ring. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said about AEW right now. Yeah, it's new. People want to see it for the first time, but it's the hot ticket in town. When you turn on AEW, the difference in the crowd energy. I'm not talking about the amount of people in the building. I'm just talking about those chants, that energy. You feel it coming through your TV when you watch an AEW show. And there's been reports like on Busted Open Radio, they have callers calling in every day, and they talk about when they're at Raw and SmackDown, once the match starts and the entrance, once the wrestlers come to the ring and the match starts, they're not allowed to stand up.
Yeah.
Security guards are telling them to sit down. So it's almost like I don't know, man. You're taking away the crowd interaction.
You're watering down your own product, really.
Exactly.
I don't know if this translates. I don't know if you guys can see, but that was.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That was a picture.
I was just about to bring that up, man. There's a lot of half-empty arenas out there going on the internet.
What show is that?
That was Raw. That was in the middle of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, that's the
UBS
arena in Long Island.
In Long Island.
And
it's messy, man.
And because I know there's a lot of people saying like it's an ego thing with crowds right now, where if WWE was to step down from those 15,000 seat arenas and do a 6,000-7,000 seat arena, it would elevate the energy of the show. Because AEW arenas, most of the ones they're doing are those 5,000 to 8,000 seat arenas,
right?
But they pack it out and it looks bigger than it actually is just because of the way they shoot it, and it's a full house.
Yeah. Oh, they're playing it safe, and like I said, measure twice, cut once. I mean, Tony's definitely playing it safe, and he would rather make the optics look really good. And sure, 8,000 seat arena. I think WWE just has a total. They're in denial about what's going on. What they are is they're a really bad baseball team, and what happens when you have a really bad sports team? The crowd, unless it's like an absolutely the Chicago Cubs or something like that, you're gonna see some empty seats because you're not a good team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem is they're just not a good team right now, and that's why they're not selling tickets.
Now, Justin, you're pretty up on your big New Japan guy, so I just want to get your opinion on it. Like, what is the state of, as far as like when New Japan comes to the States, because I don't follow it as closely as I should. How is their attendance as far as just New Japan pulling off of their own name?
In their own, okay, so New Japan, the whole structure of New Japan is different, and it's a different product, to be honest with you. Right now, they're doing 2 tournaments that are running together, which is the Best of the Super Juniors, which is basically the G1 for the juniors,
Right.
and they're doing the World Tag League, which is basically the G1 for tag teams. What they do is they don't necessarily have like a Monday Night Raw or a weekly show. They just do like kind of house show tours leading up to a big event. So right now you have the Best of the Super Juniors tournament going on, and they do very small arenas pretty much in small towns. And if you do it at Cork and Hall, it's like 1,500 people. And they lead up to kind of arena shows that are, compared to like a Staples Center and stuff like that are usually the big shows. So it's a completely different business model.
Right.
And obviously you're touring in a country that's a little bit bigger than the size of California. Well, much bigger. So the travel is a little different, but they hit the towns and their ticket sales, because they can't fill arenas yet.
Right.
Due to the COVID restrictions, and plus you have what they call clap crowds. They're not allowed to yell and scream, and they have to wear masks, and they actually enforce it and listen there. So it's a completely different dynamic, and they've been running a lot of shows more than they would usually because they do have to make up for lost money.
Right.
Instead of filling a 3,000 seat arena once, they have to fill a 1,500 seat arena twice to make up for the money. So they are running more shows, but it's mostly to make up for the losses they're having right now. And they're kind of treading water. It's not as hot of a product as it was 2016, 2017, 2015. And I'll be honest with you, it is a little bit down. And a lot of that is not being able to get all the talent over there right now.
Right.
They need this to happen more than anyone as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially when those doors open, the restrictions are full blown though. The people will be there when they have the opportunity to be there. I feel like AEW and New Japan come back together. They're going to do well.
100%.
All right. Well, do you guys have anything else to say before we move on to the final topic?
No, I'm good.
All right. We'll do it. We'll move on to the final topic of the evening. Has AEW mishandled Adam Cole's arrival? Since he's shown up 2 months ago at All Out, has he been mishandled?
I'm gonna have to hear you guys say it first because the thought didn't even occur to me until I saw this topic pop up in my DMs here.
I'll shoot off at this. First, no. I think he's been doing perfectly fine.
All right, good night, everyone.
Yeah, I don't know why people are even like contemplating that they've been misusing him. I think he's been in very strong matches. He's been doing a lot of right. No, he's been doing a lot of dark stuff, like AEW dark shows, putting over younger talent, like not putting them over, but like working with them,
making them look
good. And he's been doing like. I think everything he's been involved in so far has been huge, and they're really setting in those little seeds to make it seem like there's going to be this massive war between Adam Cole and Kenny Omega soon, like when the time comes. So I think, or even just the undisputed group duo, as we'll call them now, and then the Bucks, where they're building on something with it. So I don't know. You put somebody in a big run. Does that make you're misusing them? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, let's look at that upper echelon of talent in AEW, Is Adam Cole ever going to be a world champion there?
I think he will.
Yeah, I do
I don't
too.
see why
Yeah, you
not.
think so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think he will.
I mean, you dump him right in the middle of the pool. You got him with someone he's familiar with, the Young Bucks. They're happy because they got a whole new character that they can work back into being the Elite. I think it's the perfect place because it can go either way.
Yeah.
He can be a baby face and have the Young Bucks turn on him, or vice versa. I think they just put him in the perfect spot where they can hover him there for 6 to 8 months, a year, before they really decide which way to go. You just kind of drop him in the middle of the card. If they get crazy and decide they want to create like a trios title or go after the New Japan 6-man title, the never open weight, they got the Young Bucks and Adam Cole.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of possibilities they can go with that if they decide to have a trios tournament or whatever. I just think it puts them in a nice flexible spot.
Yeah, and here, this for me, first of all, no, I don't think they've mishandled him. But I think too, like when he debuted at All Out, when he came out, we had no idea, was he going to be for or against Omega and the Elite? And he came out and obviously he went with the Elite, but I don't 100% buy it. And I believe that there is story with it. And we talked about it earlier. Tony Khan is somebody who has no problem
Taking his time
with bookings.
Yep.
And I think this is a classic case of that.
Yeah, I think
sure.
the whole stink of this, like on social media, it comes down to one word for me: impatience.
Exactly.
Fans are impatient. They have this guy coming out of NXT who was the top dog. He was the man. So instantly he comes into a company where there's storylines going on. There's already stuff happening. You can't. I don't think Tony Khan wanted to just inject him into a major storyline right off the bat. Although he kind of did, like he did. He was thrust into the world title storyline. He aligned himself with the champion, but as far as like, he didn't want to put him in a top tier feud right out of the gate, because back to Tony Khan taking his time, like he has dream matches in his back pocket with Adam Cole.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like, okay,
But I also got to
to
think with Adam Cole, you had to think coming in that they knew Kenny was banged up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just kind of align him. They could still go in either direction. And it's just amazing because when you think about all those guys they brought in around the same, 4 to 6 week span, you brought in Bryan Danielson, you brought in CM Punk, and they've all kind of landed, they nestled themselves in a nice little zone.
Yep.
Kind of separate from each other, but they're still getting, equal play with each other. And, Bryan Danielson was probably the guy just to put right at the top of the card. I think that was the right choice.
Yeah.
To do. And just look how they still played Adam Page and Kenny Omega. I mean, when they started AEW, they're like, well, Kenny Omega, we got to get him out there. That's the household name we want to create. Look at all this stuff. He sacrificed Kenny Omega for an entire year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And give him amazing credit with what he's done with Adam Page. Adam Page, don't get me wrong, is great, and he's worked really hard, and he's a great character and arguably the biggest babyface in the business right now. But he took a guy that was a fringe G1 middle of the deck Bullet Club member, Chase Owens level, and he made and of course I'm giving Adam Page a lot of this credit too, and he just threw him out there, and look at him now.
Yeah, they took a guy, he saw something in him, and like you said, New Japan, mid-card guy, like middle of the pack, Bullet Club guy, and now he's the man, and he holds big platinum. So it's like, that's pretty incredible. But like another thing I think with this that makes it why they don't feel the need to just thrust Adam into this big top feud right out of the gate is he's young, man. I think he's like 32, 33. Bryan Danielson has said he's got 40. Maybe 3 years left of full-time wrestling. He said the contract he signed with AEW is like his last full-time contract. So it's like when you have CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, they're on borrowed time. So you want to put them in quick, and Cole can do his thing. And then when you're ready to pull the trigger on him, not that it's going to take this long, but 2-3 years from now, I do think Adam Cole is going to be a top guy. I think we're going to get Adam Cole feuds with Omega, Danielson, probably Punk, because he's been very vocal in the media about that's a dream match for him, is Adam Cole and CM Punk. So we're going to get all of that, but fans out there bitching, be patient. Guys, be patient.
I didn't even know that existed.
It just happened. It was wild.
Tony Khan came out and commented on it. I mean,
whose spot do you want him to take right now?
Exactly. No, absolutely.
Here's the thing.
We're not going to get Bryan Danielson, Adam Page then.
Right.
Is that what you're telling us?
Right.
But let's not forget, he's been here 12 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
12 weeks is all we've had him for.
And
3 months.
And him, Punk, and Danielson came in within a month of each other. Like, you have 3 guys that you have to work into storylines that were already going. When they came in, we were a year and a half, 2 years into the heat of Hangman Omega. There was stories that had been rolling. You can't just bring these guys in. Sure, they have names from the past, but you can't throw your booking out the window to bring guys in. That's not smart booking.
It reminds me of one of my favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes. And I saw a wino eating grapes and I said, dude, you have to wait. That's it, man. You have to wait.
That's perfect, man. Love Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah. No,
Danielson was kind of rare that they put him right at the top of the card, and even he has a little gray area right now, and his character and his presentation isn't fully hashed out, right?
Right.
It seems like they're going feud to feud with who's a baby face and who's a heel. So even Bryan Danielson, even though he has been injected right at the top of the card, and that could have just been because they knew Kenny was banged up and they had to put someone of household name at the top,
Yeah.
And that's a smart business move, because out of all the guys that they got, I mean, Punk is obviously a huge name, but as far as the current fan base right now, Bryan Danielson's the biggest name, household name right now. So
absolutely.
To use him in this top position is smart to bring new eyes to your product.
Absolutely. 100%. And it's like people could say the same thing about Punk. They're misusing him, but he's doing some of his best work out there right now.
But honestly, he hasn't wrestled in 7 years. Let's just make sure that he can get his feet back and he feels comfortable, and let him get some of those mid-card talents they have. Let's get them some TV screen time, because people are going to be tuning in for Punk. So let's see who of the young people we want to get over. And of course, we were all waiting for the MJF thing. And I was telling people months ago, I don't even want to see him wrestle.
No,
I just want to see promos, and that's exactly what they gave us.
Just talking class. That's all.
Keep having the matches with the young guys while this back and forth simmers between him and MJF. I'm here for it.
I think they're going to drag that out for a little bit. It's just going to be teased.
Drag out as long as you need to.
Give us a promo a month. That's all we need, and then they'll build up to the match in a year. We'll be fine.
Again,
absolutely.
They've only been here since. I mean, Punk's been here the longest, and that's been since what? July?
No, it was August.
It was August. End of August. Yeah, mid-August.
Come on, man. Wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Hey, man, you have to wait.
And I have a feeling that at some point, AEW is going to have a little more airtime to fill with all these people they're signing.
Yeah.
I think eventually you're going to see Rampage go to a 2-hour show at some point in time. I don't know about Dynamite the 3, but I think at some point, if they're moving networks and they're on big networks, they might demand a little more airtime.
I could totally see that. I gotta say, it gave me an eye roll when they were comparing Adam Cole's arrival to Miro's arrival.
Oh,
come on, guys.
That might have been one of the things that Tony Khan just didn't quite get right, but you know what? He steered the ship, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He
right, he did.
I think that shows you a flaw in his freedom. I didn't hate it because to me that came across as Tony let Miro kind of pick what Miro's a video game guy. He's like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then Tony gave him the opportunity to get that over. It didn't really work. And then we got the Miro we've all been waiting for, which is the killing machine.
I guess it's like the complete opposite of when Vince McMahon told Jim Ross to sign Mick Foley so he can disappoint you, right?
Right. Complete opposite.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap us up for the evening. Justin, tell everybody where they can find you and tell them everything about In-Ring Art. Get your plugs in.
Okay, so I wanted to, not only In-Ring Art, which you can find it at In-Ring Art on Instagram and Twitter.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a podcast I've been doing with this guy, John Ensman, who some people on the internet might know as the New Japan rapper. We do a podcast called Wrestling and basically we do some bonus shows in between with current events, but then every the gist of the show is we do wrestling and a topic, and our last one was wrestling and comedy. We've done wrestling and sex, we've done wrestling and toys, and we just try and do a topic and do a deep dive into wrestling's association with said word. So the last one, like I said, was wrestling and comedy.
That's fun.
And
that is fun.
Yeah, we
There's
try to have a
so many
little
things.
different twist on things, and it's been fun so far. And a lot of it, and I think you guys agree with me, a lot of this is just therapeutic.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Yeah.
And it's doesn't matter about any of the stuff that goes with it, but it's just the therapy of being able to talk with awesome guys like you about something that we love, and maybe we don't have so many people that we can talk to about it in our, that are close to us, and it's just this therapeutic outlet to get away from the shoot jobs and all that stuff.
100%, man. I couldn't have said it better.
Could not share that sentiment anymore.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, man, we appreciate you coming on. That's going to wrap us up.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Make sure you guys are following us on theturnbuckletavern.com. I don't have Tom here to give his plugs.
Yeah, we got some I'll throw some t-shirts up. Get these t-shirts. They're cool.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or some debate t-shirts. We got a master debater shirt. There you go.
Oh,
Hit 'em.
Speaking of wrestling and sex, right?
there you go. Okay.
All right. That's going to wrap us up. Court is dismissed.